During my 17 years as an acting CFI, I find that the most difficult area for students to comfortably learn isn't landings. Well, it's talking on the radio. It seems to me that this must be an offshoot of the natural fear of public speaking. Public speaking remains at the top of the human phobia list. So if keying the microphone makes you a little nervous, well, you're not alone. If you ever find yourself in a spiral dive from 5,000 feet AGL on a dark night in a plane full of spiders, soon to be on death's doorstep, well, your biggest fear will still be keying that microphone to make a position report. Talking on the radio should be fun. There is no audience to instill stage fright, just a friendly controller on the other end to lend a helping hand. Properly taught and properly learned, communicating with controllers can be a real asset to any pilot. In all seriousness, we need to make a conscious effort to overcome communications fear. My first ever student, Rob, was one of my best friends and also my inspiration to become a pilot. Rob had the same fear of talking on the radio that we all have. He flew fine, but time and time again, he would bumble the radio work, much to my frustration. Rob's eventual solution was simply to practice in his car on the way to work. He would imagine himself in a certain location and make the call. New York traffic, Grumman 909 Yankee Tango, 7 West, be entering left downwind for runway 35, York. Consistent practice on the ground made it second nature for Rob in the air. Problem solved. Are you having trouble? Find an innovative way to practice that works for you. Another solution may be to listen to live communications on the website liveatc.net.
Helicopter 531 Lima November, Harrisburg departure, ident, and stay altitude.
Outside of a working engine and airframe, I believe our radio is the most important piece of equipment at our disposal. It's our link to the outside world, and I like the second pair of eyes on me, just in case.
That last call, 665, go ahead.
Yeah, we're having engine roughness here. Give us a second. We may need a vector back.
For the past 30 years, I have always used flight following on VFR flights. Sure, we can fly coast to coast, never talking to anyone, but that begs the question, should we or why would we? Obviously, by example, I don't think we should. By using flight following, ATC is often helpful with traffic advisories, special use airspace advisories, weather advisories, and just generally helpful advice. Remember, though, that flight following is advisory in nature and does not relieve you of your pilot and command duties. In addition to all the help ATC can provide, there are 37 Class B, 122 Class C, 474 Class D airports. That's 633 total airports where radio skills are mandatory to operate. Well, I'm not a huge fan of big airports, mostly because of the high fees involved landing there. There are times when landing at one is the most convenient choice. If you want to fly in busy airspace, you need to act and sound professional. Best of all, if you can tackle the toughest airspace, all other communication will be a breeze. In the process of making this video, I was actually surprised to learn that I have flown as a GA private pilot, not a commercial pilot, in 24 of the 37 Class Bravos over the years, and landed at 12 of the Bravo primary airports. So if I can do it, you can do it. Let's assume if you've made it this far, you consider radio skills important, and improving your technique is something you'd like to do along with a few veteran tips. Well, that's great. Speak crisply and clearly and at a good pace. We want our communication to adhere to the 3 C's: clear, complete, concise. Clear means to make understandable, free from ambiguity or obscurity. Complete means having all parts or elements, and most importantly, concise means expressing or covering much in few words. Brief in form, but comprehensive in scope. After the 3 C's come the 3 W's. Who you are, where you are, what you want to do. 90% of all communication is who you are, where you are, and what you want to do. We'll discuss that in more detail in the other videos of this series. Know what to say before you key the mic. If necessary, run through it once or twice before you make the actual call. If it's long, jot it down. Always, always, always repeat control instructions in your reply. The response term, roger, roger that, or copy, copy that, simply means I understand, and it's fine to use in non-control situations.
German Tiger 665, Roger. You expect a slight delay. We're handling some technical issues here.
Roger that.
But control instructions, usually but not always heading and altitudes, need to be repeated to absolutely ensure correctness and understanding with ATC instructions.
28665, turn left heading 240.
Left 240, 665.
The number one word in your vocabulary should be stand by. There will be times when a controller will ask a question you're just not immediately prepared to answer. No problem. But rather than let dead air hang, your immediate response should be stand by. This allows the controller to move on to his next communication until you have formulated an answer. Once you have your answer, call back, and in busy airspace, this is crucial.
Oh, it's the barometer, 3s.
Tiger 665, when you get a chance, can you give me a heading to East Texas VFR?
665, stand by. Okay. Nearest. And Harrisburg 665, heading to East Texas is 064 degrees.
665, Roger, thank you.
Welcome.
If standby is number 1, say again is number 2. Did you miss part of a communication? Was it stepped on? Or maybe you didn't quite understand the instruction. Say again. On a recent trip to Philadelphia International, I had exactly that problem. I was holding short of runway 35, told to line up and wait, and also told traffic on a 4-mile or 5-mile final. I didn't want to taxi onto a landing runway, so I said say again and clarified that was the actual instruction.
November 28665, runway 35 intersection Kilo, line up and wait, traffic's a 5.5 mile final for your runway.
I'm sorry, say again, 665?
Number 28665, runway 35 intersection Kilo, line up and wait.
Line up and wait, 665.
If you are not 100% certain of anything or everything, verify or clarify. Simple errors can lead to violations in controlled airspace, and worse yet, an accident. So if you're not 100% sure, verify. On a recent VFR trip to Pittsburgh, I had been cleared to descend to 3,000 feet inside the Class Bravo.
Grumman 665, descend and maintain 3,000.
4.5 for 3, 665.
A few minutes later, I was closing in fast on the landing runway, now high at 3,000 feet. I was in the number 1 position. The normal instinct, perhaps, would be to descend for the runway. What would have happened? Probably nothing. But rather than risk a deviation or something worse, I opted to verify first before descending.
And Tower 665, can I continue my descent through 3,000?
Grumman 665, runway 32, clear to land.
32, clear to land, 665.
If you have a request, make it. You've got nothing to lose. At multi-runway airports, I sometimes request other than the active runway for crosswind landing practice. I include the phrase, if able, to keep it friendly with the controller. Sometimes my request is granted, sometimes not. But you never know if you don't ask.
All right, current target 28665 for the approach, altitude is 3000, clear into the Class Bravo airspace, plan runway 26.
Roger that, 3000. I request 27 right or 35 would be preferable if available.
And the, 28665, runway 35, then, what do you think?
Perfect, 3-5. Thank you.
Though not official phraseology, in the lower altitudes that general aviation operates, it is useful and sometimes expedient to abbreviate altitude. 5,500 becomes 5.5.
Departure Red Lake 969 out of 4.2 for 5,000. This will be climbing through 3.5 for 5.
Student pilots should indicate their status at the initial call. This lets the controller know he is dealing with a rookie and to provide extra assistance and consideration as needed, perhaps even to slow down a bit.
As per approach, Grumman Tiger 28665, student pilot.
770 Tango Pop, Harrisburg departures, radar contact, 8 miles from Warbed. Maintain VFR, practice first crew, no step brake services provided. Grumman Tiger 28665, Harrisburg Perch.
Tiger 28665, just departed Donegal Springs, climbing through 1,900. Eastbound, VFR to Philadelphia International. Request VFR flight following at 5,500.
Use it on every flight, and you'll find communication is much easier than you may think. I always get in the system at or right after takeoff. Then it's just a matter of handoffs to subsequent controllers and replying to the requests or instructions. We go into greater detail in several mission-specific videos as part of the Aviation Safety Videos COM series that cover VFR flight following, Class Bravo, Class Delta, and the all-important but seldom used PIREP. For Aviation Safety Videos, I'm Bob Reed. Have a safe flight.